We're gonna bring someone up here who I've known for a long time. He's super talented. He's worked on things maybe you've seen on television, on film, film producer, and TV editor, AJ Calomay. What's up, man? Welcome to the interview.
Good to be here.
I'm gonna start off our interview like the way I started the other ones, but like just throw out a question for you. What's the last film or TV show that you saw? Maybe that sticks out to you. It doesn't have to be like if you watched a show with your daughter or anything like that.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
I know, yeah. I'm in the same boat.
Toddler life. I saw The Bear, season 3, episode 6.
Nice.
So
Okay.
trying to catch up with that.
Okay.
You know, it's funny. I work in TV and film, but I don't really catch up with a lot of shows that like everyone's talking about. So when I do have the time, I try to catch up with okay, this is something I should be watching.
All right, so we're gonna go into like a little bit more early years, your childhood. Where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in West LA.
Okay.
Which is some people may call it Sawtell.
Ooh,
area.
we're getting to like neighborhood specific here. Okay.
Because when I say West LA, people think oh man, I love Culver City.
This is
Santa Monica's cool. I'm like, no, bro, I don't. Those are different places.
we have boundaries here.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
So what's it like growing in Brentwood? I'm like, man, if that would be a different life. If I,
Okay.
so yeah, West LA, which is it's more of a district, but you can say a Sawtell, and people now would kind of understand where that's from.
I pulled a little nice image you might like to see here. There's Westwood and some guys on some bikes here and some probably
So
the 80s or no, I actually looked up the year you were born and
shit.
this neighborhood. So
Yeah,
so if you wanted to know how high the shorts were when you were born, that's where we're at.
Probably that height.
You can use the shorts as a gauge to what year.
Yeah, exactly. This is probably 75.
Yep. All right. So as far as your upbringing, your parents, where were they from?
My mom was from Tacloban in
Okay.
the Philippines.
Okay.
My dad was born in Iloilo, but grew up in Manila. But they met in West LA. They didn't get married.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so
that's different.
Yeah, so they met here because my mom was a nurse, surprise, at UCLA.
Okay.
She came over in '69, and my dad was an engineer with Chevron at the time.
Okay.
And they met through who would be my uncle. It was sort of a blind date situation. Ended up linking up and started going to church together, and they got married and got a house in West LA for $42,000.
Wow.
Back in the 70s.
Let's rewind back to they met at church. So anyone who's single out there, go to church, man. You might meet someone. You might meet someone.
Never know.
Okay. And so we're at you're a young kid. You're growing up in the West Side. What were things that you remember watching and seeing that really stood out to you? Were there shows or maybe films that you're always man, movies are cool.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I mean, well, back then that generation, right? We were all about Star Wars, right?
Sure.
But also a lot of the, back then in that time in the 80s, we were into skateboarding. So a lot of skateboard videos were pretty epic back then. So the Paul Peralta videos, which was directed by Cesar Peralta, who was became a really great documentary filmmaker. We would watch those videos. They were going around to different skate shops, VHS tapes.
Wow.
So my cousins and I, who they lived in the Valley in Canoga Park, we would go and try to emulate our own skate videos.
Really?
Had
Okay.
a video camera, and we would go in and try to do the same kind of tricks, the same kind of riding that they would do. And that's kind of how we started messing around with the video camera that way. So it's those and just being a basketball fan, we would kind of record basketball games on TV and kind of edit our own little basketball highlight tapes. This is with
Wow.
two VCRs.
Okay.
And so for those of you who know what VCRs
Oh,
are,
yeah.
so
Share with people about
Yeah.
what a VCR is.
it's a tape player, video tape player back then that you had to rewind and you had to rent these things.
Talk about tracking.
Yeah, adjust the tracking. But I had like a little Radio Shack mixer that you can stick different sources in, and started playing with that way. And that sort of became like the first video editing that we did just for fun.
Okay, so this is teenage you, camera, skateboarding. We're starting to use the camera and have fun doing basketball stuff. And then you end up going. You mentioned UCLA earlier. You're with your mom, right?
Yeah.
You end up going to UCLA.
I ended up going to UCLA, yeah, as a college student, going in as a psychobiology major.
Okay.
Which is, like kind of the default. Oh yeah, just go into medicine and become a doctor, right? Like I didn't really think
that was the initial
plan, but
okay.
that was also like very default. I didn't really think much about it. So I thought, oh yeah, that sounds easy. Why not?
And then you end up editing film, and where did that change for you? Like were you at a college party, or did you meet some friends that just like, hey man, let's start doing some real serious like filmmaking?
Yeah. Well, I was very involved with the Filipino club on campus. So,
okay, talk about that a little bit.
I was a peer counselor for students on campus, and I was very involved with the club there. But we also had, at home, my dad had a video camera as well. So
okay.
Because a lot of the events happening, I would go and film events, just event videography coverage, and still using that same Radio Shack mixer.
Nice.
I would
I know exactly which one that is.
Club. Yeah. And
that's cool. So that's kind of how it started, like not with intent of becoming a professional, but people were just hitting you up to do that.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so that was more of just like event coverage, long form.
What does this mean to you when I say this to you? Bahay video. I read this in an article, so like, can you share with me what that means?
Well, Bahay, that translates to like home video, right? Video is like a Tagalog, Taglish way of saying video. But that was our first like production company.
Wow.
We formed like a LLC in college. We had like a business, and it was doing event coverage of different Filipino culture nights, and then expanded to like, the Chinese Student Association culture nights.
Okay.
Different colleges within Southern California, and that sort of like became our thing. Like, hey, we're the culture night videographer people, and we had
nice.
3 or 4 cameras going, and we would run like long. We would convert RCA to XLR cable and back to RCA, and then feed it into our mixer.
Wow.
We had a bigger Radio Shack mixer, and we would like edit like live on.
Shout out to Radio Shack.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
where would any of us be without Radio Shack? DJs or producers or filmmakers, Radio Shack is where we all probably could have ran into each other.
Yeah, right.
All right, here's another thing that I'll say. What comes to mind when I say Xylophone Films?
Yeah, Xylophone Films. So that was when I had graduated UCLA already. I was working on a documentary where everyone was saying, I was trying to find clips where people said something with the letter in the alphabet, with letters in the alphabet, right?
Okay.
A, AJ, hey, B, all right, see you later, bye, right? So it was like, I was actually inspired by a REM documentary that I saw. Which
really?
The same thing, yeah. Throughout this footage, there was nothing with X, so.
I see.
So I was at home and I had my video camera ready. I was trying to prompt my dad to say xylophone,
I saw that. I ran into it looking through your stuff.
Yeah, and so I called him over. I go, hey, Dad, have you seen my xylophone? Then he goes, cellular phone? No. And I was like, that's kind of good.
And you're like, I'm gonna make my whole
like that, yeah,
my whole business around that.
Yeah. So I made it like Xylophone Films, my production company.
Well, we can see it here. Your logo is, so that's your dad in the logo.
Yeah, that's
in the Obey style of graphics.
Right. And I actually have shirts back there that for free. Yeah.
Xylophone shirts back there, guys. So if anyone wants a xylophone shirt, go pick it up in the back. Who's this handsome young guy in the back?
Here. Someone with a lot of hair back then. I don't know who that was.
I like when I cropped this photo, I was like, I gotta leave that Mac in the back. Like, can we tell what year that was from looking at that screen? Or
that was probably like 2004, 2005. We were editing our movie off of a Mac Cube. I don't know if you knew that model.
Totally know what that is. So kind of describe, you kind of did hit on this point, but like describe younger AJ starting the film company up. You said you guys started the LLC with Baha'i Video, and now you have Xylophone Films. You must have had like a lot of vision and like dreams of like where you wanted to take it, but then like kind of relate it to like today, like you still have Xylophone Films, correct? And so how was young AJ different from AJ of today?
Yeah, I'd say when I started Xylophone Films, I'd just graduated, so I was kind of coming off of the high of like being involved in all these different, Filipino, events in college.
Okay.
When I started working in the industry, which was cool. I mean, I ended up at a really good company. It was an editing company run by the editor of Fight Club at the time. Yeah.
The movie Fight Club.
The movie Fight Club.
Oh.
Yeah. So we were actually doing like editing big music videos at the time. So like
Wow.
Blink 182, which was big.
Sure. Yeah.
All those like Marco Siega, who's a music video director, he did a lot of his videos over there. But of course, I didn't see anyone. Not too many people of color were there. These are like these boutique production editing houses in Santa Monica, right? So
Sure.
a lot of the places they did commercials. And I was the guy coming in, like bringing lunch. The PA, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, I miss like what I did in college with my people, my community. So I
Sure.
started Xylophone, Xylophone Films, and just kind of made it a focus to really tell our stories, Filipino Americans, Asian Americans, people of color stories. And this is 2001 where, these, that intent probably wasn't as strong as it is now.
Sure. I'm going to read a quote actually that kind of relates to like what you're saying now, but it moved me to like, I got to mention this. It says, "It's been important for me to share stories from my community and help amplify voices for the underrepresented." Can you break down a little bit more specifically like what you mean when you're saying community and underrepresented here? Like who were the people that you were thinking of when you were saying that quote?
Well, I mean, being Filipino American, I
Yeah.
was thinking about myself, because there was nothing about us back
Yeah.
then. There was the movie called The Debut back then, which had like a self-distribution release back then.
Okay.
And I was involved with that, so I wanted to kind of continue that feeling, because who else would kind of carry that torch, the Debut, through the movie around the country, and it was awesome to see that. But who was developing that talent? Who was developing like the filmmakers? So I sort of took it upon myself to really, if I knew other Filipino Americans trying to get into film, I would say, hey, cool, let's link up. Maybe we can work on something together. I ended up meeting a director who went to USC, like my rival school, Patricio Janelsa, who was the writer-director type. I was more the kind of editing and starting to get into producing. So it was a good fit. He was also from the Bay Area, so we had kind of like different sensibilities a little bit.
Sure.
But it worked out because he had a project, that he shot with his buddies in the Bay Area about a superhero throwing around lumpia as a weapon.
Share with people what lumpia is in general.
Yeah, lumpia is lumpia is the Filipino egg roll, Filipino spring roll.
Okay.
Fried usually. It's nice, fresh. Well, we sort of took a ridiculous concept of that and sort of inspired by El Mariachi. Where it was
cool.
a Mexican guy using, a mariachi guy using a guitar as a machine gun. We took the same thing, Filipino sort of equivalent of it.
You did the Filipino way version of it.
Yeah.
I never knew that. Like I've seen both lumpia films and never associated that. So that's cool.
Yeah.
I went like on a deep dive. So like I went into Xylophone Films on YouTube and I started looking at all the films that you worked on, the things that you displayed on there. The first one that comes up is like a Most Def thing, and I was like, "Whoa, you shot that?" And then as I went through, I started to notice like the through line there was like, well, there's definitely some Filipino American stuff, but then there's like a lot of hip hop stuff.
Yeah,
so like, can you like share a little bit about? I feel like I'm part of this boat too, but like, what's up with Filipinos and hip hop? Like, what's the connection there? Why are we so like that's our culture? You know what I mean? Like, we're Filipino, but we're also hip hop. Like we're
For sure. Well, I mean, I think like, growing up in the 80s, I guess, right? There wasn't a lot of what could we relate to, right? I mean, I couldn't relate so much. I mean, I like the music of the time, right?
Sure.
But, you know, I mean, just the kind of music that hip hop is, right? It's that, you know, sort of resistant, you know, it's a voice of the resistance, right?
Sure.
And so I think that's something just as us, you know, we don't really fit into a clean box, right?
Yeah.
You know, we don't look Asian enough, you know, we are Asian, right? Or people
Yep.
think we're like, you know, Latino or something like that, right?
Right.
And so where do we fit in, you know? But I think just with the messages that are put in the music, like that's something we gravitated towards.
Yeah, like you kind of touched on this earlier, where you're saying like you were working in these companies and you didn't see Filipinos heading them, or like stories being told, and that's kind of what prompted you to start Xylophone Films. Like, do you feel like hip hop also being as bold and like outspoken in nature had to do with like why Filipinos gravitated toward that? Like a lot of people feeling like you, like going into jobs and going into circles where like I remember in junior high, I would be like, oh, this guy's my best friend, you know, and he's not Asian at all, but he would be like, so what are you?
Right.
This whole same conversation.
Right.
He's like, you're Chinese, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
no. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, well then you're Japanese.
Yeah.
And I said, no.
Yeah.
He's like, well, what else is there?
Right.
Is the where it would always lead to? So like, we didn't really have a voice. So like seeing, for example, Wu-Tang or like some hip hop artist who's just like, I don't care. Like I'm just gonna get on the mic and literally say the word represent. Do you think like Filipinos maybe gravitated towards that a little bit? Like seeing like, hey, I got a voice now. Like I could be Method Man, or I could be, you know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think, I mean, at least for me, right, that's where I felt I can fit best in, you know, and you sort of find a creative outlet, you know, for that. Like continuing my sort of like event videography phase, I started like filming concerts, you know, with your cousin.
Yeah.
And so we founded just a company.
My cousin Jay too, just to let you guys know,
Yeah.
works for Stone's Throw Records.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I helped get them linked up.
I saw a lot of those, like the Declaim stuff that you worked on, and
Yeah. So
That's cool.
That was one of the first projects I worked on. I did a, you know, we got connected with Stone Throw Records, through Butter Wolf.
like early on, huh?
Yeah, through our friend John Castro,
Oh, I see.
writer of the debut. So him
Yeah.
and Peanut Butter Wolf grew up together.
Wow.
So he said, "Hey, my friend needs he needs help with an edit for a documentary for his record label," and then turned out to be from Stone Throw Records. That's how I got connected with them. I started meeting different artists from the label, and I started just filming them. But you know, this was like with no money, no like. I just started following them around with my camera.
It was for the love. Like you definitely like pursued your passion.
Yeah.
It was something you were like really into. I'm sure like hip hop. I mean, I'm posting some of you posted your tapes here. These are like heavy hitters. You still have these tapes? Are they for sale, or can we get Mobb Deep, Shook Ones on tape?
We got ice there. Yeah, no, that's a newer thing right there.
Oh, okay, that you're getting into. Okay.
Yeah.
So like as I started to look through all the stuff you worked on, like you definitely worked on, you know, producing and editing. But like one thing that really stood out to me about your work was mentorship, right? Like you're doing talks and you're you kind of brushed on it earlier. Like you said, I would bring in someone who's Filipino American and said, let's work together to like help them. Like you don't know how to edit yet. Like let me help you out. Can you share a little bit about how like guiding other people to approach their like, you know, reach their career goals, how that kind of showed you about your own path?
Yeah, I mean, because I was a peer counselor for Filipino students at UCLA.
Okay, and this is even before film,
even before film
was a dream.
Well, it was funny. It was for pre-med students. You know,
Which kind of relates to being Filipino, though.
Yeah. I wasn't even like on that path anymore, but I still had like a lot of students coming to me for that. I was just like basically going off of like whatever like I knew, you know, but I never was like on that path yet. You know,
Wow.
it was fine. They wanted someone to talk to, and we can relate well.
Okay.
But you know, I mean, film is such a collaborative process. You know, you can't do it on your own. You know, you need a team. You need like-minded people to be on the same page. and honestly, I needed help.
Yeah.
So, and it was also my way to kind of get an assessment of folks. Like,
Sure.
if I knew they can help me on this indie project that they weren't getting paid for, maybe I can refer them if something else opens up with my industry job, right? I always had like my day job.
Yeah.
And then so whenever I would recommend people, it always happened to be someone Filipino, like, oh, AJ, you only work with Filipinos? I'm like, I don't know, I guess. What's the big deal? I mean, they're talented. They know what they're doing,
Yeah.
I vetted them out. They're great,
Like can you kind of like share a little bit about, because to me that approach to things, especially in Hollywood, for example, is it's not associated usually. Like, you know what I mean? Do you feel like being brought up Filipino in the community aspect, like being more communal and family and things like that, is a reason why you kind of like, bring that to film and, like in that world, in that industry?
Absolutely. I mean, because, you want to come up with your friends. You want to come up with the people that were there and that understand and that get you.
Totally.
That are on the same wavelength. I mean, it definitely helps the creative process as well.
Okay.
There's there's shorthand there. There's already an understanding of what we're trying to say.
Okay.
I don't want to have to constantly explain myself where I'm coming from, for me to do the best work out there, right? If we just kind of get it already and we know what the goal is, I think the best work will come out that way.
Totally. That makes a lot of sense. So like now you've got your film company, you're starting to like edit some big things, produce some things, and but like, has there always, like, because you said you didn't start in film, right? Like you were like mentoring, and it was about like medical, like what your major was. But when you got your feet in and you were doing film, and you were like, I'm doing film, was there someone that you looked up to, producer wise, director wise, actor wise, who were like, who mentored you? Like almost like that. Like was there someone in your life who kind of like guided you, or maybe you didn't even know them, but you like looked at their career path and you were like, I kind of like that. I want to go that direction more.
When I first started, I had very little connections. I ended up interning at Visual Communications in downtown LA, which is the oldest Asian American media collective. And so I met an editor there, a guy named Walt Louis, Japanese American editor. And he's the one that kind of said like, oh yeah, you don't have to kind of come in and be the best editor. You can, get your foot in the door, work your way up, work hard, learn the ropes from the bottom to the top, And so that made an impression on me. I met another editor when I was working on the debut trailer at a post house in Santa Monica, a guy named Dexter Adriano.
Okay.
Who he was an editor already. He was working with Spike Jonze on Three Kings,
Okay.
So it was cool to see him. He was in the union. He had a family, I was like, okay, cool. I want
established.
All this,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I feel it's possible. And then, later on, like, connecting with Gene Cahayon and John Castro and Rob Polito, these guys, did the debut and the flip side respectively. And those projects inspired me to think, okay, cool. Like we can make feature films at the level that we want to be at and make an impact. So, but I mean, there's still so much I'm hungry for. There's people I've worked with now, producers who I meet that I'm like, okay, yeah, you're all like my mentors. I'm still trying to get up there, So it's constantly evolving, as far as like folks that I'm like looking, to emulate. But I think I'm in a place now where I feel I'm at a good place. I kind of know where my place is at. I'm not, I'm not a TV editor. I'm an assistant editor, technically.
Okay.
But I've gotten a lot more, projects under my belt than my other colleagues,
Totally.
assistant editors.
Yeah.
No one's been crazy enough to try to produce a feature film while they're pulling 70, 80 hours a week on a TV show, which is like what we did on Mr. Robot.
That's funny that you bring that up, because that's exactly where I was going next. And so on Mr. Robot, I was like, I didn't watch the series. I'm definitely familiar with like Rami Malek and some of his other work, but I kind of read up about it. I know it's about hacking lightly, like shows you how much I know about it. But
No,
as I dove deeper into it, I read somewhere that like he and some of the cast like had to like go to, I don't know, some like hacking seminars or something like that. So like they would hack well on screen. Like, is this true, or like as when you were editing these, like did some of that kind of like show up?
I mean, it was definitely a very detailed show. So I wouldn't doubt that they went to these like hackathons or underground.
So apparently there's a right way to hack.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. No, but we would like, there was one show where there were like QR codes on doors, and we actually had to make sure each of those worked, right? If it didn't, then we have to VFX in like the proper QR code, because we know people would pause our show
and try to
look it up.
That's so crazy.
But yeah, a very, very detailed show. I worked on one sound effect for a week.
Really?
That's like how.
Wow, that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
I think one of the most like notable things that like when I look through your body of work that I gravitated towards was like, dude, you worked on the Black Eyed Peas videos. Mm-hmm. So like you worked on Apple Song and Bebot for Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
Can you like share a little bit about how that came about? I read in on Voyage, like your article, that you worked on over 30 plus videos. Mm-hmm. But that number alone is sheer just impressive. But like these particular two stood out to me. I mean, we're at AAPI Heritage Night, so it's like this also more befitting. Mm-hmm. But like for me, I'll share with you, like I love the Black Eyed Peas. When they dropped that first album, I was like, oh man, this is a great group. Started following them and noticed how like they started to become very more commercial. Mm-hmm. But then this particular era that where you were working on these videos, I noticed like they were like, hey, let's market more to some Filipino like that market and really tell these stories. And I watched the behind the scenes, and you're like, you were in there. I have some photos. There's like a photo with Apple and Chad but like, could you share with me a little bit about that experience and how like you got to working on those projects?
Yeah. So we heard about, I mean, same thing. I was a fan of like, the first Black Eyed Peas album, and then, they ended up getting Fergie and things started.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, we noticed that they did have a Filipino song on the album. And so we reached out through our friend, Rosalind. Glorious.
She's a friend of mine too.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to her too, by the way.
Rest in peace. And she got us connected with them. My director, Patricia Janelsa, had a treatment already prepped for the Apple song.
Wow.
And she handed it over to the group.
Yeah.
And they were good with it, and it wasn't through the label. It was more like Apple funded it himself directly.
Oh, I see.
But
okay.
Of course, all the other members were like, yeah, sure, we'll go along, but it was still kind of a scrappy production. But it was only our third music video ever. We did music videos for our Lumpia movie, for the soundtrack.
Okay.
And these were like, really local Fil-Am groups. And
Sure.
our third music video ever was with the Black Eyed Peas.
Man. Okay.
We had like film crew, so we're shooting 35 millimeter.
Nice.
So we had like, the very experienced camera crew, and then like the production staff around us all like Filipinos, all our cousins and family helping us out.
I saw they were talking about Apple and cooking adobo, and and Chad said he doesn't mess with balut.
Yeah.
Real questions there.
Yeah, no, that music video, Apple song, we had, Chad Hugo made an appearance. We connected with him through friends from Virginia Beach.
Okay.
We're just trying to collect like any kind of famous.
It was cool. It was cool to see though, because like the actual like storyline through the video was really touching as a Filipino American, like seeing like the migrant workers, being and then the social halls and these things that like I read about, and now like in a Black Eyed Peas video, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was cool to see someone who had already like they gained international fame and everything, were now like telling the story and in a very intimate way. So like, I thought that was cool. And
Yeah.
working on that. Like, hats
Al-
off to you, man.
Thank you. Yeah, the Apple Song video, that was more centered around veterans, right?
Yeah,
So we talked about, what was going on with the Filipino American veterans and the
sure.
lack of benefits, right? So we got a message in there as well. We shot it at a convalescent home. Our
I saw that. Yeah.
Patricia's real life uncle was a veteran as
Mm.
well. And then when we did Bebo, we did two versions of that. A modern version, we called it Generation 2, and then Generation 1, which is kind of named after the Transformers movie, by the way. But Bebo Generation
Wow.
1 and Generation 2.
Okay.
And Generation 2 was a modern one, and that was the one that the label like shared and
Okay.
put out there. But Generation 1, which we centered the story around, same song, very different video. We centered that around the Stockton, Little Manila era,
Right.
taxi dance halls and that kind of thing. And that
Okay.
one was not as, advertised by the label. So,
Crazy, man. Like to.
but yeah, we just did it. I mean, we were able to squeeze out 2 music videos.
That's
out
great,
of
man.
Apple's budget, and we definitely wanted to get some of our history there as well.
Yeah, you guys definitely achieved that. I thought in the right way and in a nice light. It wasn't corny at all. Like it really paid homage in a right way. And you said it was like your third video that you worked on, and like now you've worked with the Black Eyed Peas. So like, can you talk a little bit about like what happened to your career after that? Like like, all right, now you got that under your belt. Like,
Yeah.
was it a little bit easier to find new work? Were other people now like, oh, who are these guys? Like, was that kind of thing happening?
That's a great question, because at the time, right? So there were a lot of production companies shooting you music videos.
Okay.
This is the 2000s, right?
Yeah.
2004 to 2005.
Yeah.
And so we were thinking, oh man, like my director's gonna get signed to a production company, or we're gonna blow up and be like Dave Meyers or Hype Williams or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
It didn't happen. Probably, maybe a lot of the content we're doing was Filipino American artists.
Totally.
We ended up doing more music videos for other artists like Bamboo and Rivera and
Yeah.
different groups from the Bay Area here in LA. It's still sort of like the same budget. I would say like the Black Eyed Peas was sort of like the pinnacle in terms of that whole
The
music
budget.
video, that music video era that we did.
Uh-huh.
And then so that's kind of why we pivoted back to our narrative, Lumpia with a Vengeance.
Okay.
After doing the original Lumpia movie, which was like a neighborhood kids movie back in like 2003.
Yeah.
So
That's funny that you bring that up. I was gonna dive right in. So like Lumpia, you're a co-producer, editor, and what's crazy is like you did Lumpia 2, and this is like 17 years later of after doing Lumpia 1. Can you share with us a little bit about like your growth in that time and how technology affected that? Like Lumpia 1 obviously shot probably in a different way than Lumpia 2.
Yeah.
And say like maybe a little bit about how that affected like editing as a profession, like how you looked at it different on the second go round.
Absolutely. Well, the first Lumpia was done with shot like mini DV, high 8,
Yeah.
and also that was like in the 90s.
Yeah.
We shot that, so like they were kids, and we also shot that first Lumpia movie from like when I started editing, so like in the 2000s. So the actors look different within the movie,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous. But yeah, after kind of going through all the music videos and sort of deciding like, hey, let's do a sequel to Lumpia. It just felt right, because it was a very unique IP. Something that we hadn't really seen out there. We're into the superhero genre was like already very well established.
Right.
And yeah, technology-wise, we could do CG Lumpia. We couldn't just, back in the day, we just had like, we shot
like Star Wars.
actual Lumpia on green screen, just like spun it, But this time we can actually get, a CG Lumpia and kind of create its own flight path.
Nice.
With Lumpia. So
Yeah.
as ridiculous as this is, but yeah, so that kind of opened up some possibilities to sort of bring our movie to the next level.
Okay.
And yeah, plus we were just kind of more seasoned as filmmakers.
Sure.
And just had better connections now.
Okay.
To people who would be down to help us with this project. And
Yeah.
really, the music video thing was fun, but it just just didn't make sense financially. You know, like
Got
we're
it.
doing it for like, hey man, help us out. You know, $500, $1,000 for a whole music video,
Wow.
and it was great to build connections and to like get the voices out there. But we did 30 of them. You know, so I
Wow,
was like,
man.
be ready.
Yeah.
Felt it was time to move on.
I remember that time when you reached out to me. You told me, "Hey, man, like we're about to release this film. Like it's gonna be in these theaters." So you guys really did some like grassroots marketing that got me, and I went to go see it too. So
Thank you.
definitely hats off to you guys for taking that on after that long a time.
Thank you.
One thing I wanted to talk about was this short that you worked on called NBA. So like you talked earlier on is like when you started doing those skate videos, you shot basketball. So let's fast forward to like now you're shooting Yasiel Puig, we have Afion Crockett and D Fish. Like all talk about a little bit about that. These are some big names, man.
Yeah.
Like let's uncover a little bit about how that came about. It's a short film.
Music video.
Oh, it's a music video.
This is
Okay.
probably one of the latter music videos we did.
Okay.
So Miles Brown, who was on the show Blackish,
Got it.
he's the son of Wild Child from the Loot Pack.
Never knew that.
from
Okay.
Stone's Throw.
Yeah.
So I filmed his, Wild Child's documentary
Yeah.
back in 2003. So we're buddies. you know.
Okay.
And so we hadn't worked on a project in a while. And yeah, he just reached out to me to work on his music video. I was like, you know what, for your son, sure, let's do this. He's like, oh yeah, I'll call some friends. I didn't know if he was gonna call. Soon enough, Derek Fisher shows up.
Wow.
Yeah,
I know you're a Laker fan too, so
Oh,
like,
yeah.
tell me a little bit about like when
it was great. It was great. And it was funny because we scheduled him the first day. I couldn't stay long on set. I had to we were shooting actually at the Mamba Academy in Thousand
Okay.
Oaks. Yeah, before it was called the Mamba Academy.
that's where this is all shot right here. What we're looking at.
Yeah, the basketball scene.
Okay.
I had to leave the shoot early that day, but I was like, hey man, Derek, I'm a big fan, and,
Yeah.
and just wonder if I can grab a photo with. Yeah, it was good. We just
That's so cool, man.
at the time, but
I'd be fanboying out for sure.
yeah. It was good. I mean, it was funny because there were so many cameos there. Like everyone who showed up to play in a scrimmage there,
Uh-huh.
everyone's like, a big influencer or actor, but we just didn't have time to
Wow.
kind of feature everyone. So
Yeah.
I don't know what they expected, when they
Yeah.
showed up. So in the video, the final video, they're very.
They didn't make it. Or,
I was like, man,
oh,
Wild Child, you got all your buddies
he really.
it's like just like a it's like a one scene in a music video.
Yeah.
So
Well, one thing I want to touch on, we kind of touched on it earlier, like why we can't watch a lot of TV is you're a father now, right? So like, I'll show some photos of you and your family, but like, can you talk about how that is and the challenges that you face? You're trying to be a professional and do a lot of work, but a lot of these things are demanding. Like you got
absolutely,
crazy hours. You said something earlier about 80-hour weeks.
yeah, can't do that anymore.
But now so now you're a father. Like
Yeah.
share a little bit about what comes with that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I became a father. I guess I'm 50 now.
Yeah.
And I have a 5-year-old, right? So you do
Sure.
the math, right? It happened a little later in life.
Okay.
With multiple, everyone's at their own pace.
Yeah.
But it's a lot different now. I think I'm at a point now where I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Where I'm at. I've worked on some great shows. I've worked on some great projects. Do I still want to continue to push? And can I work these hours that people younger than me are doing? Where they're like, hey, I'll edit scenes on the weekend.
Yeah.
I'll do extra work. That's just I can't do that now. But at the same time, do I still need to be doing that? Can't things be easy for me? I have 25 years of experience in the industry now. Do I still need to be begging and clawing and scratching my way for opportunities? So I'm just kind of going with what's given to me now. I want to obviously spend time with my family and have her be proud of the work I'm doing. I share with her the stuff I'm doing, and but yeah, it's definitely a lot harder.
Yeah.
But I think there's a way of still making space for it, and still.
It's good. I think the reason I bring it up is I'm also a father, but I'm like, I think it's good for younger filmmakers to hear. You know what I mean? Who who may be even thinking, I'm not going to have a family because of how demanding my job is, and maybe there's still a way like that you could juggle everything and still go somewhere with your career and still have a family and balance it all out. So that's good for, I think people to hear.
Yeah, that's why I mentor a lot. I need help.
No, hey, 100%, man. And
I need people to help me.
No, that's great. Let's talk about some more recent work that you're working on. I know you and I have been kind of talking through the past couple of weeks. You did some editing and some like maybe motion graphics, you said, for an art show that's currently up now.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So my cousin's husband, pretty big artist.
Yeah.
And he's from New York. He had me fly out to. So when the strike happened, like 2 years ago, right? A lot of us were just.
This is the writer's strike. Is that you're referencing?
Actors' strike. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The whole industry is very slow right now.
Sure.
But he flew me out to New York. I was like, hey, I'm down. I need work,
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh man, I'm gonna like go visit my friends in New York City. We stayed in a hotel like right across Queensbridge.
Nice.
So I was like, oh man,
we talked about Mobb Deep earlier. So.
Yeah. So, but we were pretty much in a bunker for that whole time. I was there about.
You were hitting it hard.
Yeah, we were hitting it hard. And I was working on an art film. I didn't quite know what it was when I got in, but my friend told me my cousin's husband told me he rented the plane that NASA uses to train astronauts.
The one where you like float for a couple.
Practice zero G.
Yeah.
And he filmed his friends and filmed them floating around as part of this like larger exhibit. To he's black, the black artist, right?
Okay.
And he. When he filmed all his colleagues, all black folks, just experiencing freedom in their bodies. So he interviewed them to talk about that afterwards. They're all naked as well.
Okay. So you edited this for him?
I edited this art film for him, which integrated interviews, which integrated stock footage, and it's been playing in different exhibits. Right now it's in San Jose. Until November 1st.
Is it coming to LA by any chance? Or?
I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
So we'll be on the lookout for that. What's the name of the show?
North Star.
North Star. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I saw you are also working on a documentary for soccer in the Philippines.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. Share a little bit about that too.
So this is sort of like I reached out to a soccer influencer, this Pinay soccer influencer.
Okay.
She does sports, but mostly soccer.
And what's her name?
Megan Reyes.
Megan Reyes, okay.
So she shared that she was shooting a documentary in the Philippines. And I just reached out to her. I DM'd her, like, hey, do you need an editor for this? And, she's got tens of thousands of followers. I didn't think she would respond, but she did.
Wow.
And so this is new for me because it's like working with someone in that social media space. But, I'm helping in terms of like producing the story and editing it. So, So right now we're going to have a very privately, probably like in the summertime somewhere, and then she'll probably get on one of the platform, either YouTube or something later on.
Cool.
This is sort of like her first film.
I had no idea. Like when you sent me that, I was like, soccer's getting big, huh? Like in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the women's national team, they made it to the World Cup in 2023.
Yeah.
And so what we talk about is how that inspired like a whole groundswell of kids.
So it's not just basketball now.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
We talk about that in the documentary.
Yeah, they should. That's dope. That's so dope, man. So. It's funny because like my daughter, she's really young. She just turned 4, but she's gonna start soccer. So this is kind of relevant for me. And I can be cool now. I can be like, I know about this stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. No, you gotta know that. We'll see if they qualify again, but there's some really great players on the team. But the interesting thing we talked about was a lot of the players on the national team weren't born in the Philippines, right? They're of Philippine descent, from different places. Everyone's mixed supporter or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's something we talk about, right? So like, what does it mean to be Filipino, and what about the homegrown players in the Philippines? They have as much of an opportunity as the overseas players.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's start wearing our soccer jerseys. Yeah. Not just our Laker jerseys. Dude.
Exactly. We're the right height for soccer.
Yeah. All right. Well, man, I just want to thank you, taking the time and sitting and sharing some of these really cool stories. I think that I've known you for a long time, you know what I mean? And I was like, who am I going to reach out to? I wanted to bring someone from a different space, you know, like you're in film and TV, and you've had a prolific career. And although like you've done some like high profile work, you've always like contributed to your community and your culture. And I've always noticed that about you and appreciated that. It's something that I admire, and I think it takes a lot of bravery to do. Like, I think it's easy to just be like, oh, these guys are paying me a lot in Hollywood, so I'm just going to jump towards that. I'm not going to bring my people up with me. Like, that's definitely not what you're doing. And as long as I've known you, like you've treated me with kindness, and I can see why folks want to work with you all the time and network with you. And I've always appreciated like your sense of humor and showing younger people like me like to like look forward to a career and have fun at the same time doing that. So thanks again, man. Let's continue to build, and I'm gonna keep following to see like, you know, more of the positive things you're gonna be doing. So
cool. Thanks
again, AJ.
Appreciate it.
AJ Calomay, everybody.